Reign of chaos. Yunus should end the violence against minorities in Bangladesh. The first appeal to the public from Muhammad Yunus, Nobel laureate and the head of Bangladesh's interim government, after he landed in Dhaka from Paris on Thursday, was to save the country from chaos and violence. The octogenarian pioneer of microfinance is taking charge of the country at one of its most tumultuous phases. Days after former Prime Minister and Awami League leader Sheikh Hasina resigned and left amid violent mass protests, the nation of 170 million people remains on edge as violence refuses to recede. Law enforcement officials are missing and the state bureaucracy has become non-functional in the absence of a government. Extremist sections have used the chaos to target Hindus, Ahmadis, a minority sect in Islam, and Awami League functionaries. According to the Bangladesh Hindu-Buddhist Christian Unity Council, the houses and shops of minorities were looted in several districts. Offices of the Awami League were vandalized and dozens of party functionaries and supporters were killed. Mr. Yunus, who was sworn in on Thursday, condemned the violence and appealed for calm. As the banker begins his role as an administrator, his challenge would be to bring Bangladesh back from the brink and restore the rule of law. By appointing Mr. Yunus, someone who is acceptable to the student protesters and the political opposition, the military and Bangladesh President Mohammad Shahabuddin have shown signs of reconciliation. At a time when there is much hostility among political parties, an interim government headed by a technocrat is a pragmatic first step. But Mr. Yunus does not have the political machinery to back him up and will have to be dependent on the mainstream parties or the anti-discrimination student movement. He also faces three critical medium-term challenges. First, he has to make sure that the military stays in the barracks. The military has an infamous past and it took years of mass movement, led by Ms. Hasina and Khaleda Zia, the BNP leader, to bring the dictatorship to an end in 1990. Second, Mr. Yunus has to build at least temporary peace in Bangladesh's polity. Ms. Hasina's fall has empowered the Jamaat and the BNP. Jamaat, a majoritarian Islamist group, has had a particularly bloodied past, while the years the BNP was in power were marked by political violence and vendetta. Lastly, Mr. Yunus's administration should facilitate free and fair elections at the earliest. Only an elected government with popular legitimacy can steer the country out of the troubles it is in today. The success of Bangladesh's uprising is dependent on the will and the ability of the country's new rulers to tackle these challenges.
For Yunus and India, Bangladesh's interim government needs to bring back order and mitigate polarization urgently. New Delhi must assist it in doing this. The violence that has marked the power vacuum after the ouster of former Bangladesh Prime Minister, PM, Sheikh Hasina certainly doesn't augur well for the neighborhood, especially at a time when the situation in Myanmar has taken a turn for the worse. More than 200 people have been killed after the Hasina regime fell. This puts the total number of deaths in Bangladesh since the student protests that drove Hasina out of power began at more than 500. The attacks this week largely targeted leaders and supporters of Hasina's Awami League party, but the country's minority communities have faced violence, too. This prompted Prime Minister Narendra Modi to call Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, the head of the new interim government in Dhaka, and urge protection of Hindus and other minorities. Bangladesh has had caretaker governments in the past, many short-lived, and the precedent of one in 2007, headed by Fakhruddin Ahmad, who, like Yunus, was an economist of international standing. But the challenges before Yunus are decidedly more daunting. The first task will be restoring order after weeks of chaos that disrupted normal life and economic activity and resulted in immense loss of life and property. It is significant that Yunus's first message, even before taking oath, was focused squarely on peace and reconciliation. He said nothing can be done without tackling the disorder and that he would quit if the attacks didn't stop immediately. The interim council backing Yunus inspires confidence, with its mix of technocrats, women, representatives of the students' movement, and members of ethnic and religious minorities. The caretaker setup must tackle the deep polarization along political lines as it prepares the grounds for holding fresh elections, though there is still no certainty on when polls will be held. The restructuring of the police force, widely perceived as acting at the behest of the Awami League, and ending the violence that threatens to spiral will be another priority. Next, Yunus has to work on reviving Bangladesh's economy, which never really recovered from the double whammy of COVID-19 and the impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and on generating jobs, especially at a time when there is unprecedented unemployment. This fueled discontent in recent months, and Yunus will surely be aware that the anti-Hasina protest started as one against a controversial quota in government jobs. He also must focus on undoing the politicization of institutions such as the judiciary, civil service, and security establishment, as Hasina stuffed these with her loyalists. Space for freedom of expression and dissent, rendered non-existent under the previous regime, needs to be created afresh.
What is the meaning of marked by? MARKEDBY.
Marked by means characterized by or distinguished by something. It's used to describe a situation, event, or object that has a noticeable or significant feature. For example, if a period of time is marked by peace, it means that peace was a defining characteristic of that time.
Give 10 examples of this.
Sure. Here are 10 examples using marked by. 1. The celebration was marked by joy and laughter. 2. The meeting was marked by tension between the participants. Her career has been marked by success and innovation. 4. The event was marked by heavy rainfall. 5. The speech was marked by its powerful message. 6. The region is marked by its beautiful landscapes. 7. The era was marked by significant technological advancements. 8. His life was marked by perseverance through adversity. 9. The journey was marked by unexpected challenges. 10. The friendship was marked by loyalty and trust.
What is technocrat?
A technocrat is a person who is an expert in a technical field and is often involved in making decisions or governing based on their specialized knowledge rather than political beliefs or popular opinion. Technocrats are typically seen in roles where their technical expertise is crucial to solving complex issues, like in economics, engineering, or science. The term is often used in the context of governments or organizations where experts are appointed to positions of power to create policies based on data and technical understanding, rather than political ideologies.
Give me the example of technocrat. I mean the person in the word.
Here are 3 well-known examples of people who are often considered technocrats. 1. Mario Draghi. An economist and former president of the European Central Bank, Draghi is often seen as a technocrat. He later became the Prime Minister of Italy, where his economic expertise played a crucial role in his leadership. 2. Lee Kuan Yew. The founding Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, is frequently regarded as a technocrat. He used his deep understanding of economics, law, and social engineering to transform Singapore into a highly developed nation. Angela Merkel. As the former Chancellor of Germany, Merkel, who has a background in physics, is often cited as a technocrat. Her approach to governance was marked by pragmatism and reliance on scientific and economic data to guide decisions. These individuals exemplify the technocratic approach to leadership, where decisions are often based on expertise and data-driven analysis.
Okay, so we often see the washing machine in 2 parts. What are they? I mean, how can I name it in washing machine, the 2 parts?
In a washing machine, the 2 main parts you might be referring to are 1. The drum, or tub. This is the part of the washing machine where you place your clothes. It rotates to agitate and clean the clothes during the wash cycle. 2. The motor. This is the part that powers the drum and makes it rotate. It's responsible for driving the washing and spinning actions. These 2 parts are essential for the washing machine to operate effectively. The drum handles the clothes, and the motor powers the entire process.
Okay, whenever we wash our clothes in washing machine, then we put it out and we put in the second part and we spin it. So what we call it?
The second part you're referring to is called the spin dryer, or simply the spin cycle of the washing machine. In some washing machines, especially older or semi automatic models, the spin dryer might be a separate compartment where you move the clothes after washing to spin them and remove excess water. In fully automatic machines, the spin cycle happens in the same drum after washing. The spinning process helps to dry the clothes by using centrifugal force to extract water.
Oh, great. Centrifugal force. Explain it, please.
Centrifugal force is a term used to describe the apparent force that pushes an object outward when it is rotating around a central point. It's important to note that centrifugal force isn't an actual force, but rather a result of inertia, the tendency of an object to resist changes in its motion. Imagine you're on a merry-go-round. As it spins, you feel as if you're being pushed away from the center. What's actually happening is that your body wants to keep moving in a straight line due to inertia, but because you're on the merry-go-round, you're forced to follow a curved path. The sensation of being pushed outward is what we refer to as centrifugal force. In the case of a washing machine, during the spin cycle, the drum rotates rapidly. The clothes inside the drum are flung outward toward the walls of the drum due to centrifugal force. This force helps to push the water out of the clothes, which is then drained away, leaving the clothes much drier.
Great, fantastic. And please tell me the whole process of washing the clothes by the washing machine.
Sure. Here's a step-by-step breakdown of the typical process of washing clothes in a washing machine. 1. Sorting the laundry. Before you begin, it's important to sort your clothes by color. Whites, darks, and colors and fabric type. Delicates, heavy fabrics. This helps prevent colors from bleeding and ensures that all clothes are washed at the appropriate settings. 2. Loading the washing machine. Place your sorted clothes into the drum of the washing machine. Be careful not to overload the machine, as it can affect the washing performance and potentially damage the machine. 3. Adding detergent. Add the appropriate amount of detergent to the machine. Depending on the type of washing machine, you might add the detergent to a designated drawer or directly into the drum with the clothes. You can also add fabric softener or bleach if needed. 4. Selecting the wash cycle. Choose the correct wash cycle based on the type of clothes you're washing. For example, you might select a delicate cycle for sensitive fabrics or a heavy-duty cycle for towels and jeans. You'll also set the water temperature, spin speed, and wash duration based on the fabric care labels on your clothes. 5. Starting the wash cycle. Once everything is set, close the door and press the start button. The washing machine will begin the wash cycle, which typically involves several stages. Filling. The machine fills with water to the appropriate level. Agitating or tumbling. The drum rotates back and forth, or the agitator, in top-loading machines, moves to clean the clothes by mixing them with the soapy water. Rinsing. After the washing cycle is complete, the machine drains the soapy water and refills with fresh water to rinse the clothes. This may happen several times to ensure all detergent is removed. Spinning. The drum spins at a high speed to remove excess water from the clothes. This is the stage where centrifugal force plays a key role. 6. Removing the clothes. After the wash cycle is finished, the machine will signal, usually with a beep, that it's done. You can now open the door and remove your clean clothes. 7. Drying. If your washing machine is a washer-dryer combo, it might go straight into a drying cycle. Otherwise, you can transfer the clothes to a separate dryer or hang them to air dry. 8. Cleaning the machine. After you've finished, it's a good idea to leave the washing machine door open for a while to let it air out and prevent mold and odors. You should also occasionally clean the detergent drawer and run an empty wash cycle with hot water and a cleaning agent, like vinegar, to keep the machine fresh. That's the typical process for washing clothes in a washing machine.
What is the difference between outcast and overcast?
terms outcost and overcost are not commonly used in standard English business or financial terminology. However, based on their structure and possible interpretations, here's how they might be understood. 1. Outcost. This term is not widely recognized or used in business contexts. If it were used, it might suggest the total cost of something, perhaps in a final sense, the out implying a comprehensive or final cost. However, this is speculative, as outcost is not a standard term. 2. Overcost. This term could imply a cost that exceeds the expected or budgeted amount. It might be used to describe situations where actual expenses surpass the planned or initial estimate, leading to an overrun in costs. However, overrun is the more commonly used term in such contexts. In summary, these terms are not standard, and their meanings might vary depending on context, or could even be misused terms. If you encountered these in a specific context, they might have a particular meaning within that situation, but they are not widely accepted in formal financial language.
And in weather term, how can I use overcast?
In weather terminology, overcast is used to describe a sky that is completely covered by clouds, with little to no sunlight visible. Here are a few examples of how you might use overcast in a sentence. 1. The weather today is overcast, so we might not see much sunshine. 2. It's an overcast morning, but the forecast says it might clear up by the afternoon. 3. The sky has been overcast all day, making it feel cooler than usual. 4. We had planned a picnic, but the overcast skies make it feel a bit gloomy. Using overcast typically implies that the sky is uniformly gray and cloudy, without any breaks in the clouds.
And when someone is different, we say it is outcast, or she is outcast?
When someone is considered different or excluded from a group, you can say that they are an outcast, or she is an outcast. An outcast refers to a person who has been rejected or ostracized by society or a particular group. It carries a negative connotation, suggesting that the person has been excluded, often unfairly, due to being different in some way. For example, she felt like an outcast at her new school because she was different from the other students. He was treated as an outcast because of his unconventional ideas. So, using outcast in this context is appropriate when describing someone who is socially excluded or rejected.
What is connotation?
Connotation refers to the ideas, feelings, or emotions that a word evokes in addition to its literal or primary meaning. It's the implied or associated meaning that goes beyond the dictionary definition. Connotations can be positive, negative, or neutral, depending on the context and cultural associations. For example, consider the words home and house. House has a neutral connotation, referring simply to a building where people live. Home has a positive connotation, often evoking feelings of warmth, comfort, and belonging. Connotations can greatly affect